Hey, let's talk about something that has confused so many of us at some point. He ghosted you, but he still follows you. He watches your stories. He might even like your posts, but you haven't heard from him in weeks, maybe months. So what gives? What does this really mean? He ghosted you, but he still follows you. He watches your stories, maybe even likes a post here and there, yet there's no message, no effort to reconnect, and no explanation for the silence. It's easy to spiral into confusion, trying to decode the mixed signals. But let's not sugarcoat it. Ghosting is a decision. It's not something people do accidentally. If someone genuinely wants to speak to you, they will. That silence, it's already an answer. And those small social media gestures, they may feel like hope, but they're often just noise. Breadcrumbs that mean far less than the consistent actions of someone who truly values you. When someone ghosts you and still keeps you in their digital orbit, it usually comes from a place of selfish curiosity. He wants to peek into your life without being part of it. Has been. It's like he's keeping the door open just enough in case he wants to walk back in someday. That has been. Without ever having to take responsibility or face the discomfort of what he did. Watching your stories or staying connected online isn't a sign of deep care. It's a sign of convenience. He gets a glimpse of your world without investing anything back. He gets the benefits: attention, validation, relevance, without giving you the emotional security or clarity you deserve. And let's be clear, you're not crazy for wondering why he's still hanging around. You're human. We all want closure, clarity, and meaning. But his inconsistency is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of his indecision, fear, or immaturity. Sometimes people stay digitally connected because it feels easier than cutting ties fully. But easier for them, not for you. He might feel guilty, and this passive connection helps him avoid the discomfort of apologizing or owning up to his behavior. It's not kindness. It's cowardice dressed up in a like or a view. At the end of the day, you deserve someone who shows up, not someone who lurks in the shadows of your feed. You deserve effort, not excuses. You deserve presence, not performance. So don't keep performing for the audience that left. Mute him if you have to. Unfollow if it helps you heal. Start posting, living, and thriving for yourself, not for the possibility that he might notice. Once the apology has been, the most powerful thing you can do is reclaim your attention and energy, because closure isn't something he gives you. It's something you create for yourself when you finally decide that his silence no longer deserves your confusion. Has been. When he watches your stories after ghosting you, it's easy to assume he still cares. Maybe he misses you. Maybe he regrets his decision. But more often than not, it's not that deep. What looks like caring is often just curiosity. We live in a world where watching someone's life unfold online takes zero effort. It doesn't require courage, honesty, or intention. Tapping on a story is nothing like picking up the phone or sending a real message. It's passive, it's easy, and it's usually meaningless. We love to give meaning to those little circles lighting up. You post something vulnerable, exciting, or beautiful, and when you see his name pop up, your heart skips. You wonder if it's a sign, but before you let your emotions run wild, pause and think. If he really cared, wouldn't he do more than just watch? Wouldn't he reach out, explain, apologize, or ask how you're doing? Curiosity doesn't equal commitment, and boredom doesn't equal intention. A view isn't a voice, and a like isn't love. Sometimes, once the apology has been, he watches because he wants to know what you're up to without actually being part of your life. It might make him feel like he's still somewhat involved, still relevant, still in the loop. But none of that benefits you. In fact, it can keep you emotionally stuck, waiting, wondering, and hoping. When the truth is, he made a choice to disappear. That story view gives him a sense of connection while you're left holding on to a false hope of reconciliation. The healthiest thing you can do is see it for what it is. A view is just a view. It doesn't mean he's coming back, apology has been. It doesn't mean he's sorry, and it certainly doesn't mean he deserves another chance. Stop assigning meaning to things that require no effort. If he wanted you, he would show up for you. Not just digitally, but emotionally, honestly, and consistently. Until then, don't let a story view take up space in your heart. You deserve so much more than someone who only shows up from behind a screen. Once the apology has been. When someone ghosts you but still follows your life online, it often means they want access to you without the responsibility of actually showing up, has been. It's a way for them to keep the door slightly open without committing to walking through it. They may not be ready to have a conversation, offer closure, or even treat you with basic respect, but they still want to keep tabs on your life. It creates this illusion that they're still present in some way once the apology has been, even though they've completely withdrawn from actually being there for you. This kind of behavior is not about love or connection. It's about convenience. It allows them to satisfy their curiosity and feel like they still have a place in your world without doing any of the emotional work that a real connection requires. They can stay updated, see how you're doing, and feel entertained or reassured by your presence, all without saying a single word or taking any responsibility for the hurt they caused by disappearing. It's a form of emotional laziness that benefits them while leaving you confused and emotionally drained. The problem is, this kind of access keeps you stuck in a loop. You're left wondering if maybe they care, if maybe they'll come back, if maybe you should wait. But someone who really cares about you doesn't leave you guessing. The apology has been. They don't just observe your life from the sidelines. They participate in it. Keeping you within reach, but at arm's length, is a way them to feel better about themselves while avoiding the discomfort of a real conversation or a clean break has been. If you feel like you're still emotionally tied to someone who ghosted you but lingers in your digital space, it's okay to set boundaries. You're not being harsh by muting, unfollowing, or removing them. You're simply choosing your peace over their passive presence. You deserve relationships that are intentional, reciprocal, and rooted in respect, not ones that keep you dangling with the bare minimum of interaction. Letting go of someone who won't fully show up is the first step toward making space for someone who will. Social media has created a strange space where people can remain present in your life without truly being part of it. When someone ghosts you but doesn't unfollow, it's often not a gesture of kindness or care. It's a safety net. By keeping you in their digital world, they leave the possibility open to return, not because they've made a real decision, but because they don't want to fully let go. It's like saving your number in their phone, but never calling you, has been, just in case one day they feel lonely or nostalgic and want to come back for attention. This behavior isn't romantic. It's strategic. It allows them to keep a foot in your world without investing any time, effort, or emotion. It costs them nothing to follow you, watch your stories, or like your posts, but it keeps them relevant just enough to feed their ego. They might not know what they want, but they want to make sure they still have access to you if they ever decide they do. And in the meantime, they're perfectly content to let you wonder, question, and feel the weight of their absence without offering a single word of clarity. For you, though, the impact is different. Seeing their name pop up can bring back emotions you're trying to move past. It makes you second guess your progress, question what they're thinking, and sometimes even hold on to hope that isn't grounded in reality. The truth is, the apology has been, their quiet presence online is not a sign of care. It's a form of control. Apology has been. It allows them to influence your emotions without making any commitment, and it leaves you emotionally tethered to someone who walked away. The healthiest bin you can do is recognize this pattern and decide what kind of access you're willing to give. You don't owe anyone space in your life, especially not someone who chose to disappear without explanation. Muting, unfollowing, or blocking isn't petty, it's protective. It's a way of closing a door that they never had the courage to close themselves. And by doing that, you take back your emotional freedom and create space for genuine connection. One that's rooted in presence, honesty, and real effort. When you post a beautiful photo or share a happy moment, and he views it, it might feel like he's still part of your life. In a way, he gets to experience the highlight reel without having to engage with the real, raw parts of you. He watches from a distance, silently enjoying the glimpses of your growth, your confidence, and your joy. But the truth is, once the apology, he gave up his seat in your life when he chose to disappear. Once the apology has been, he's no longer someone who earns the right to witness your journey firsthand. Yet social media makes it easy for him to stay close without contributing anything meaningful. It can feel unfair because you're putting in the work to move on, to heal, and to keep growing. Apology has been. And yet he still benefits from the version of you that he didn't help build. He gets to enjoy your glow up without being there during your breakdowns. Every time he taps through your stories, he gets a dopamine hit, a small ego boost, a sense of closeness that isn't real. It's all surface level with zero effort, zero investment, and zero accountability. He gets to stay emotionally entertained while you carry the weight of being ghosted and try to make sense of it all. What makes this dynamic even more frustrating is that his quiet attention can sometimes feel louder than silence has been. It makes you wonder what he's thinking, whether he misses you, whether he regrets letting you go. And those questions can slow down your healing, even if you know deep down he hasn't done anything to earn your energy anymore. It becomes a cycle where he gets the emotional benefit and you're left dealing with the confusion, replaying memories, and questioning your own progress. At some point, once the apology has, you have to decide if you're okay with being a show that he watches without ever showing up. Because you're not here for someone to sit back and spectate while you grow into your best self. You deserve someone who claps for you in public and supports you in private, someone who sees your shine and wants to stand beside it. Not behind a screen, silently observing, without ever stepping up. Cutting off his access isn't harsh. It's you honoring your worth and protecting your peace. You're not crazy for wondering what it means when someone ghosts you but still keeps showing up on your social media. It's a confusing experience, one that can make you question your instincts and overanalyze every little action. You start to wonder if maybe he's still interested, if maybe he's waiting for the right time, or if perhaps he regrets pulling away. These thoughts are normal because humans crave clarity, has been. And when someone disappears without explanation but stays in your digital world, it creates an emotional contradiction that's hard to ignore. The truth is, this confusion doesn't come from your feelings. It comes from his behavior. He's the one sending mixed signals. He didn't clearly communicate what he wanted. He didn't offer closure. And yet he's still lingering. That inconsistency naturally causes emotional uncertainty. You're reacting to a lack of honesty and direction, not making up stories in your head. When someone creates a space where silence and attention exist side by side, it's understandable to feel unsettled and curious. It's important to remind yourself that your feelings are valid. You're not being dramatic or overly sensitive for wanting answers or trying to make sense of something that feels unfinished. People who disappear but remain visible keep a certain emotional door open, whether they realize it or not. That door creates false hope, which makes it harder to heal. It's not your fault that their half in, half out presence is making you feel unsure of where you stand. You deserve clarity and consistency, not confusion and mixed messages. If someone truly wanted to be in your life, they would do so in a clear, honest, and respectful way. They wouldn't leave you hanging while watching from afar. So, instead of questioning your feelings, question his actions. Recognize that your emotional response is a natural reaction to someone else's emotional immaturity. And then choose yourself. Choose peace over uncertainty. Choose healing over hoping for breadcrumbs. That's when you start to regain control of your story. It's incredibly easy to take ghosting personally, especially when the person who disappeared still lingers in your digital space. Apology has been. You might start asking yourself painful questions like why he hasn't reached out, what you could have done differently, or whether you just weren't enough to keep his attention. These thoughts creep in quietly and settle deep, often without even realizing how much they're affecting your self-esteem. The silence, mixed with subtle signs of his continued presence, can feel like a rejection that never quite ends. But here's the true thing: his silence and inconsistency say far more about him than they do about you. People ghost for many reasons: immaturity, fear of confrontation, emotional unavailability. But none of those reasons reflect your value as a person. When someone doesn't have the courage to communicate openly or respectfully, it shows a lack of emotional depth on their part, not a lack of worth on yours. It's not your job to fix their behavior or make sense of their silence when they couldn't offer you basic respect. Staying connected on social media is often a way for someone to ease their own guilt or satisfy their curiosity, but it shouldn't be mistaken for care. Has been. It doesn't mean he's unsure about you or still deciding. It often means he's taking the easy road. One has been avoiding discomfort while keeping one foot in the door. And in that avoidance, once the apology has been, you're left carrying all the weight of confusion and self-doubt. You end up questioning yourself because he didn't have the decency to give you clarity. And that's not fair to you. You are not too much, not too difficult, and certainly not unworthy. The right person will not leave you guessing. They will show up, communicate, and make an effort to be present. It's time to stop measuring your value through the lens of someone who couldn't even offer you the courtesy of honesty. Let his absence be the closure. Let his silence confirm that you deserve more. And let this be the moment you remind yourself that your worth has never depended on someone else's ability to recognize it. Has been. Sometimes the person who ghosted you is fully aware of the hurt they caused. They know disappearing without explanation leaves questions, wounds, and a sense of emotional abandonment. Deep down, they may even feel guilty for how they handled things. But rather than facing that guilt and taking responsibility, they choose avoidance. It's easier for them to disappear quietly and then keep a passive eye on you from afar, hoping that doing the bare minimum of staying connected online somehow softens the impact of their silence. This behavior isn't about kindness. It's about comfort. Their comfort. By avoiding direct communication, they avoid discomfort. They avoid hearing how their actions affected you. They avoid the awkwardness of admitting they were wrong, uncertain, or emotionally immature. Watching your stories or liking a post is their way of saying, has been, still here, without ever having to say, has been. I'm sorry. It's an illusion of connection that helps them feel less guilty. Only has been, while you're left to carry the emotional weight they didn't have the courage to face. It can be frustrating because their digital presence feels like a shadow that keeps you from fully healing. Every time you see their name, it opens the door just enough to let hope or pain slip back in. And yet, there's no real effort, no message, no closure, just quiet watching. In their mind, this passive presence is easier than a vulnerable conversation. But in reality, it's just emotional avoidance dressed up as subtle concern. True accountability means owning up to your actions and acknowledging the impact they had. It requires courage, maturity, and empathy. Someone who truly values you doesn't try to stay relevant through silence. They show up, explain, apologize, or make amends. If they can't do that, then their presence, even in the smallest form, is not a sign of care. It's a way to ease their conscience while you're left to sort through the confusion they created. And recognizing that truth is the first step to freeing yourself from their grip. You deserve someone who shows up fully, not someone who lingers silently in the background of your life. When someone is truly invested in you, they don't disappear when things become real or require effort. They lean in, they communicate, and they make sure you feel seen and secure. A person who truly values you doesn't just enjoy the fun, has been, light-hearted moments. They're present for the deeper conversations, the messy days, and the real parts of connection that require emotional maturity and intention. Has been someone watching your stories or liking a post from a distance is not the same as being present. Presence means showing up consistently, offering clarity, and being willing to do the work that a genuine relationship demands. It means matching the energy you give, not retreating when things become serious. Passive attention might feel flattering in the moment, but it cannot replace the comfort, safety once the apology has been, and stability that comes from someone who chooses you openly and shows up with full effort. The apology has been. You should never have to guess how someone feels about you. The right person won't leave you searching for hidden meanings behind every action or waiting for the next digital breadcrumb to drop. They will be clear, intentional, and consistent in how they engage with you. They won't make you feel like you have to earn their attention or chase their affection. When someone truly values you, the apology has been. Their actions will reflect that in a way that's steady and obvious, not silent and confusing. Has been. Waiting someone to step out from the shadows and finally show up for you is exhausting. The apology has been. You owe it to yourself to stop waiting and start choosing people who choose you just as clearly. Been. Let go of the ones who only show up when it's convenient and make room for someone who's ready to stand beside you in the light, fully, consistently, and without hesitation. You deserve a connection that is real, not one you have to constantly wonder about. Been. One of the most powerful decisions you can make after being ghosted is to stop performing for someone who walked away. When someone chooses to leave your life, they also give up the right to have front row access to your growth, your wins, and your presence. Continuing to post or share your life in hopes that they'll see it and come back only keeps you emotionally tied to someone who didn't choose to stay. You might feel tempted to show them what they're missing to make them realize they made a mistake, but the truth is that only prolongs your healing. It's not your job to prove your worth to someone who already had the chance to see it and still chose silence. The validation you're looking for doesn't come their views or likes. It comes from within. When you start posting, sharing, and living for yourself instead of for their attention, something shifts. You begin to reclaim your power. You stop wondering if they saw it or what they think, and instead, you focus on what makes you feel proud, fulfilled, and at peace. That's when the healing really begins. When you start prioritizing your own voice over their silence, muting, unfollowing apology has been, or even blocking them isn't dramatic. It's a boundary. It's you saying, I deserve to move forward without constant reminders of someone who couldn't show up for me. It's not about being cold or bitter. It's about protecting your energy and peace. You're allowed to make your digital space a place that feels safe and supportive, not one that triggers memories or reopens wounds every time you log in. Detaching from their quiet presence is not weakness. It's a strong, clear statement of self-respect. You don't need to keep the door open for someone who walked out. You don't need to perform or prove anything. You are already enough, exactly as you are. The moment you stop trying to be seen by them is the moment you truly begin to see yourself. And in that space, without the noise of their passive attention, you'll find clarity, confidence, and a deep connection with your own growth has been. That's the kind of attention that matters most, the kind you give to yourself